Also, when is the best time to drill holes in fiberglass in a boat? And the correct answer is right after your wife vacuums. It makes her really happy.
What'd you say?
Nope. You'll hear it later on.
I mean, I guess it just depends on how much you want to live on the edge. But anyway, we started this project a while back and we made one of the shades and we started to install the first light, but some bigger projects got in the way and this one just had to go on hold for a while. After a trip up north, we had more time to go back to these smaller projects that really do impact our day-to-day lives. Living on a sailboat cuts down on the number of creature comforts that you have so very much. So something as simple as lights by the floor can really make a huge difference for us. Having these lights while out sailing will be really beneficial because it will help to preserve our night vision, especially for the person who is on watch. And then I guess, you know, if you're the person sleeping, then you don't really want great big bright lights on in your face the whole time. We will also use these lights quite a bit while we're here at the dock. If Philip or I are heading to bed and the other person isn't home yet, the regular LED lights are super bright. So if I wanted to leave a light on for Philip when he got home, so he's not, you know, coming home in the dark, it would be really difficult for me to fall asleep. We don't have like a bedroom door we can close, so that's kind of unfortunate. By leaving these floor lights on, it just gives him enough light that he could come in, wouldn't have to get out like a flashlight or his phone light or use something along those lines. So anyhow, here's where we started back up on this project.
So like typical Philip fashion, I forgot to video actually cutting all the flashing off the part. So I used the multi-tool here and I cut a straight line across here, and then I cut the edges off, and then we cut a slot to fit for the light. I think this has two layers of like 6 ounce glass and then the Kevlar carbon fiber, and it just does not like to cut, and I didn't really have a way to video it, but so I got that cut, sanded up quick, and then work on installing this one.
Now I need to interject with a quick little do as I say and not as I do. Don't hold things up to an orbital sander without at least wearing gloves or something like that.
So we are putting in here a little light shield and then a light, and it's going to have a little red light, and the light shield just keeps the light from going up, so it's just a floor light. But I drilled this hole and there's like the fiberglass curves up right here to meet the wood, and on the back side there's not much space, and so I can't actually get the nut to thread on the back of this. So now I get to try to move the hole down. So I have a piece of wood with a hole in it that I'm gonna set as a guide, so then I can use the spade bit to drill the hole a little bit lower. Also, when is the best time to drill holes in fiberglass in a boat? And the correct answer is right after your wife vacuums. It makes her really happy.
What'd you say?
Nope. You'll hear it later on. So here's our light assembly before it's installed. And then I've got a plastic nut that gets threaded on the backside. I do want to verify it first. I should make sure the cable is coming out the correct direction, which it wasn't. So now the cable is going down, which is better than up because there's a flange in there. There we go. Little cricket, and there we go. Perfect. So I just finished wiring in the little night light floor lights. So they're red. They look pretty cool, and the lights are off. I don't know how much this will pick it up, but because the carbon is black and then the Kevlar, you get like a pattern from the Kevlar and carbon fiber. So provides a little bit of light, and then you can see the forward one. So this past weekend we installed a little strip light that's green. And then we also installed a switch right here, so it's just an easy reach to turn it on. It's to provide just ambient light for while we're in the cabin at night, but also then if we're trying to like go into the refrigerator while sailing at night, we have a like low lumen light to turn on that doesn't destroy night vision. That was one of the things while we were out sailing to Traverse City and back. We noticed that we wanted to use the refrigerator at night, and you turn it on and like to find food because you need light, but then you're like your eyes are burning because you just turned on a really bright white light. So so far we're pleased with how that turned out. So on our boat we have 3 Richie compasses, so 1 on the pedestal, and then we have 2 Richie navigator bulkhead compasses, so that one's still in good order. This one, I can get out of the sunlight. This one lost all its fluid this spring. We're not sure why. So I bought all the replacement parts to replace the fluid and the diaphragm and O-rings in it. So hopefully we can replace it so it works. So here is our Richie navigator bulkhead mounted compass. So I'm just going to work on disassembling it so we can get the front dome off, as we purchased a new O-ring for it, and then we also have a diaphragm for, I think that goes back in here, and then there's a new fill screw and O-ring for that, which is, I believe, this. So we bought all this stuff from Viking Compass. Seems like they have everything to service multiple different compass styles, so hopefully this will fix it and allow us to have a working compass there again. This gasket, all the diaphragm's all cracked. So probably was that this diaphragm just gave up and slowly started leaking out. Smells. Whew.
Yeah, all of a sudden I could just smell it. I was like, oh boy. Hundreds.
Wildly different. This is really flexible and this looks like stiff as a board. The nice thing is the spider put a nest on it, so I know which way goes in and which way goes out. Probably not. And then there's a notch here and a notch right here. So line up. See how stiff that gasket is? I probably should replace the other ones too. There is a O-ring, get out of this bag, that seals underneath this dome. We're going to replace that so that it's as bad as the diaphragm, it's probably going to be cracked and breaking. So, man, that is kind of stuck. I think we're gonna wipe out some gunk right here. I'll wipe out. There we go. Some cloud. We're gonna have to clean it up. I think there's a powder on everything. Just I think this is to help keep from tipping. Alright, so the O-ring is sitting in a little slot right here. There you go. So there's our old O-ring. It's actually not terrible. It does look a little flattened on one side from where it's been pressed against the flat face of the dome. Alright, so I wiped the inside of the compass down and the dial, and so it's a little bit cleaner. Now I gotta reassemble this back in. I got all the little plastic shards from the edge of the dome out. So I'm gonna fill it with fluid, and then there's a port on the side, and so once I get the bowl filled, then I'll use a syringe to fill it the rest of the way up. Got a new O-ring. Here's the dome. So right here is the fill port for the compass. So I already filled like half of it with fluid, and then this is how you fill it the rest of the way up. The reason I didn't fill all of it this way is you have to use a syringe to fill it, and that's going to take a while. I did get a new O-ring for in here, so I'll have to work on popping this one out. There's the O-ring. We'll get the new one installed. And I've heard that using a syringe takes a really long time to fill the entire thing, so if you can fill it halfway, that saves a lot of time later on. There's some food in a bowl, so it's easier to get out than out of the container. Right. That's great. Oh, like sticky. Alright, so you can see that it's not level. So you have an air bubble underneath the dial. What's going on? There we go. So now this air bubble's bigger, but now the dial is level. Alright, so we now got the compass filled, and there's no air bubbles left in it, so it looks pretty much brand new, other than there's some epoxy that got on right there. Alright, so I got the fluid all replaced, and you can see there's no air bubbles in the top, which is good. So now I just need to reassemble the front bezel, and then some light guards. There we go. Fully reassembled. Alright, now for the final install. I will at some point have to replace this teak angle, but I just haven't yet, and well, it's on the list. There's a lot of things on my list. Compass looks good. Actually, it may even look better than the other one. So now that I wipe the inside out and replace the fluid. So today's project is rebedding and supporting the front chalk. Yesterday we were looking at it, and the holes had been oblonged, and then we actually looked at it, and some of the glass was less than ideal structure-wise. So we filled in the holes, and now we're putting more glass in. So this is the glass we're going to put in to support it behind. I think it should be enough. I think it's going to add, in the thin spot, like 8 layers of 1708, and then the other spot will have 3. So I think should give it some good structure. It's up in the forepeak, so it's going to be, we'll see what video I can get, as it's not much space up there. Alright, so first we're going to cover stuff with thickened epoxy, just to fill in any gaps or voids and help create a better bonding surface. Some of this is pretty rough glass up here, and I think I'm just going to use my finger. Just gonna last is the layer of fuel ply to try to smooth it all out and reduce any sharp edges. And then it should also help with paint or anything else. Gravity is not always your friend. Alright, so there's the glass with some peel ply.
What?
And that should give us enough strength. Probably will have to redo the other side at some point, but that won't be at today's project, hopefully this winter.
Thanks for sticking around. These are the 3 projects that we have finished since our trip, and seeing as how you made it through the entire video, enjoy some ear and eye bleach with some extra footage from our trip up north. Contrary to the way it's usually portrayed, living on a boat is rarely glamorous or exciting or incredibly interesting, and it is stressful and a lot of work. But right now it's what our lives look like while we attempt to chase our dreams. Not sure what those plans are yet, but in time the Lord will show us what direction that we're going to head, and it's just our job to make sure that we are up for the challenge. So as long as my ADD and procrastination doesn't get the better of me, I will see you guys next Thursday.